Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing fantastic. Laurel from GelMoment with Laurel. I'm going to do a New Year's Eve manicure. I'm starting off with the Raven's Kiss. Now I'm going to show you a quick little trick here. I'm going to use my pinky here as a balance to prevent my left hand from shaking. So I'm doing this whole set of nails on my non-dominant hand, or I'm painting it with my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand. So I need as much steadiness as possible because my non-dominant hand is very shaky. So I'm using my finger, my pinky finger, as a fulcrum and using that just to balance my nail. So basically you're using the muscles of your pinky and the rest of your hand to try and keep your non-dominant hand, or your dominant hand if you're shaky in your dominant hand, you're giving it that steadiness. So I'm doing an ombre for this finger. So I've used the Raven's Kiss at the bottom part of the finger, the base of the fingernail. And I'm just going to use some Meet Me at the Chapel. You can use Lovey Dovey as well. I just have Meet Me at the Chapel nice and handy, so that's the only reason I'm using it. However, having a thinner brush also is helpful for just doing this tip. So basically you're going to put the polish down on the tip of your finger, which is your free edge, and you're going to push the gel into the other color. So I'm using I've got quite a bit of gel on here, so I'm just trying to scoop up some of it because there's way too much. It's not going to cure properly. So now I'm just trying to push the Meet Me at the Chapel to the Raven's Kiss to meet up with the line. You want it to meet up just nice so that when it self-levels, it levels nicely and there won't be any voids or bumps or anything like that. So then you're going to grab the mini fan brush out of the Creativity set. I find the mini fan brush from the Creativity set works the best for this. And basically all you're not going to drag it. Dragging it is going to leave lines, and you don't want lines. So all you're going to do is tap it. You could do tapping a little bit faster. I'm having a really tough time because it's my non-dominant hand. But basically what you're going to want to do is tap the light color into the dark color. So whatever ombre you're doing, always pat the lighter color back into the dark, and then move the dark color back up into the light, if that makes sense. And once you're done the first one, cure it for a full 60 seconds or 45, depending on your lamp. Then once you have your full cure done, then you're going to repeat the process. So you'll put the Raven's Kiss down in this instance, just like you did the first time, and then we're going to put the Meet Me at the Chapel at the top, and we're going to tap it into each other. So as you can see, it's already starting to look better. When you're doing ombres, it takes about 2 to 3 coats. Usually 3 coats in my experience to make an ombre look nice and well blended. The first couple of coats definitely don't look good. They're so translucent that it's not very pleasing to the eye. So don't give up on it if you do 1 or 2 cures and it's still not looking good. Don't give up, just do a couple of more. You know, sometimes depending on what kind of colors that you're using, it might even take up 4 or 5 different coats to make the ombre look proper. If the polishes are more translucent, it's going to take longer. If the polishes are more opaque, it'll be less coats. So just be patient and tap, tap, tap. Don't drag. When I say you want to drag the colors, you want to tap the colors down into the opposing color. You're not dragging it. You're tapping to drag the color down, if that makes sense. You don't want to drag the brush, because you drag the brush, you're going to leave lines. So you want to tap, 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 up and down. And once it's all tapped, you make sure to cure, full cure, 45 to 60 seconds, depending on the lamp. Then you keep repeating the process. You keep putting in, doing exactly the same thing as we did in the very first layer. You want to put down your Raven's Kiss. You want to put down your Meet Me at the Chapel. You want to tap, 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 bringing the white into the black and the black into the white. Tap, 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 tap. And you can see this last one here, I'm bringing the black back into the white. It's very important to remove any gel polish you might have on your sides. That's just dry skin. I thought it was white polish, but it is just dry skin. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's nice and opaque, so that's what you're looking for. Those little lines and dots, they're very minimal, and it's going to be like magic when we put this Clearly Frisky on for a final coat. So of course it's on a cured nail, and we're going to put this Clearly Frisky on, and you are going to be amazed on how the Clearly Frisky hides all those tiny little imperfections. It's going to be like magic. Are you ready for it? This is crazy. Like, reveal time right now. Oh, forgot to cap it off. Right now, look at that shine. Amazing transformation. Second accent nail. To do most artwork on nails, you have to have a matte finish on your nail. So I'm not using any matte finish. I am going to use the buffer to buff my nail and make it matte, and then I'm going to use a cleanser and I'm going to cleanse that nail off. So if you don't have matte or effect, that's okay. You can do it with the buffer. I'm going to use the medium liner brush out of the Creativity set. And what we're going to do here on this accent nail is make a plaid nail. Plaid is huge during the winter seasons. It just makes it nice and cozy. You see plaid, you think, you know, nice cozy fires, lumberjacks. It's just an awesome design for winter. So you're going to use, I'm using Lacy Night. I already have Lovey Dovey on the nail, cured. And then of course, we gave it a buff to give it a matte finish. I'm dragging the liner brush across my nail. Again, I'm using my non-dominant hand, so I'm just trying to steady myself. You can see me shaking a little bit. And you're going to want to try and drag it as even as possible. When you're using the liner brushes, the longer brush you have, the more stable it is by itself on the nail plate. So if I was to try and do this with the small liner brush, it would be all over the place and there'd be squiggly lines. But because I'm using the long liner brush, it kind of stabilizes itself on the nail plate, so you don't have to worry about stabilizing it yourself with your finger. But use the trick that I showed you in the previous accent nail. Use your pinky finger or your ring finger as a balancing point. So I just gave that one line a quick 10-15 second cure just so it doesn't move. And now I'm going to do a perpendicular line across the nail with the Lacy Night again as well. Again, using the liner brush and using my finger as a balancing point to try and steady my hand. There's not really any right way or wrong way in doing the lines. You just do a couple of lines perpendicular. You can put them on angles. You can do whatever kind of design that you want. It's kind of like the sweater design. You know, you kind of know what plaid looks like. It's a bunch of lines and squares, and you just kind of place them wherever you think they might look good. So I've done these 2 perpendicular lines and I cured them, and now I wiped off my brush to get the lacy night off of it, and now I've prepped it up with some red Rebel, and I am again making sure that those lines are nice and straight, or as straight as I can get them. And once your vertical line is done, you want to give it a cure. 10 to 15 seconds is fine, just to make sure it stays put, and then you want to put your perpendicular line on it right over top as well. So I'm just using red Rebel again, and I am bringing it across horizontally onto the plaid, just following the lacy night that I previously already had down on the nail. And make sure once you have your perpendicular lines down that you give it another 10 to 15 second cure to make sure that it's stays put. I have done my full cure, and now I am using sparkling Moscato, and I'm making another vertical line down the nail. And the sparkling Moscato is very translucent, so I just finished the cure and I'm putting a second layer over top of the first layer of sparkling Moscato to make it a little bit more opaque and stand out a bit more. And then I give it another cure, and this is me deciding on if I should put another line in. Sometimes too much nail art is too much nail art, so stop when you're ahead. So I've decided against it, thought that that was enough, and I put a coat of Clearly Frisky on to protect my design and also to blend all those colors together and make the nail art pop. Okay, so for my thumb accent, I'm using the buffer to give it that matte finish, and I'm using our cleansing wipe to clean off all the dust and debris. So right here, I was going to start putting my design on my thumb for the accent nail with the long liner brush, but then I decided to stop because it's too long, and I'm going to show you the difference. The Creativity set has 3 brushes, liner brushes, the short, the medium, and the long. The longer the lines, the longer the brush bristles. The shorter the design, the shorter the brush bristles. In this case, we're using the short because I am going to paint numbers on my nail, so I want as best detail as possible. Some people even will get their brushes and even trim them further, cutting the bristles shorter, thinning them out. The thinner the bristles, the better the detail. So in this instance, like I said, we're trying to draw the year 2022. So I want good control, and I don't want to use a petal brush or a flat brush because they're too thick. So I'm just putting in the numbers 2 and then 22, and then I'm going to do something different for the O. So I'm just using sparkling Moscato to write out the numbers, just because it's already on the Creativity mat and it's nice and close. So once I've done writing out the numbers, I'm going to put it in the lamp to cure for 5 seconds. 5 seconds only, because I'm going to cover it with some chrome powder. I've got the number 9 Zenith here. It's a really gold chrome powder. It's beautiful. I love it. It's like gold. It's really pretty. I figured it'd be great for New Year's. So now I'm going to pull out, just one of the petal brushes out of the creativity set, just because I find it easier to use, and I'm just brushing it over top of the numbers that have been just recently cured in the lamp. And once I have the chrome all over the top of the numbers, I'm going to put my thumb back into the lamp for a full 45-second cure in the premium lamp. So the curing is done, and I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm going to wipe off the excess chrome on my thumb. So now that all the twos are done, I'm going to use a dotting tool from the creativity set. I'm dipping it into the red Rebel that we've already used on the Plaid Nail, and I'm just going to make a circular motion for the 0 for 2022, and I'm just going to keep going in these circular motions until the O is big enough for my satisfaction. Once you're happy with it, then you want to put it into the lamp for a full cure, depending on your lamp, 45 to 60 seconds. Then after I cured it, I used the dotting tool, used some Lacy Night, put it in the center of the Red Rebel, and cured again for the 45 to 60 seconds. So this was a very quick design. We're at the end of this accent nail, topping it with Clearly Frisky, protecting our design and bringing all of the colors together and making that nail pop. Once you have the Clearly Frisky coated on the entire nail, pop it into the lamp for 45 to 60 seconds, depending on your lamp. Okay, so last accent nail on my middle finger, Raven's Kiss as base coats, buffed it with a buffer. I've also put Lacy Night on my pinky. I also wanted to show you guys what I do with my chrome powders. I love chrome powders, but they can be messy, like really messy. So what I do with all my chrome powders, I don't have all of them in this case. Some of them I have downstairs as well, but so this case is just from the dollar store, and I pop those in with the little trays so they can't move. They stay nice and they stay upright. If you have them in the bags and they bounce around, the chrome sneaks out of the lid. I swear the lids like loosen themselves. It's awful. So there's just a trick for you. Now in this accent nail, we're going to use some Meet Me at the Chapel. Again, you can use Lovey Dovey, it's entirely up to you. I'm using Meet Me at the Chapel and a very small touch of lemon meringue, just to give it a little bit of an off-white. You could also use the top coat Stardust, or you could use one of the chromes or the shimmers mixed with Clearly Frisky. This is just outlining some champagne glasses, so you can kind of use whatever, anything that might look like glass or some kind of outlining color, entirely up to you. In this case I've used like I said, Meet Me at the Chapel and lemon meringue, and I'm just using the dotting tool to mix those colors together. And then I'm going to use the small liner brush to draw out the champagne glasses on my finger. Remember to make sure that your liner brush is clean of any other colors so there's no color transfer in your new design. So the champagne glasses are a little bit trickier than the plaid, but I'm going to do my best to try and teach you a very easy way of doing it. Basically, you're going to make 2 parallel lines side by side. Try to make sure that they're equal lengths and as straight as possible. And then once you have the 2 parallel lines, then you're just going to have a couple of angled lines at the bottom of those parallel lines to make up the bottom of your champagne glass. And if you're having a tough time with the lines, you can always cure once you think, so say you have 2 parallel lines and they're perfect and you don't want them to change, you can always give it a quick 10 to 20 second cure so they don't move on you while you continue on with your design. So I've gone off camera here, which happens quite a bit, unfortunately. But basically all I'm doing is making a long stem in the champagne glass, and I'm putting a base on it. So again, just 2 quick angled lines at the bottom of the stem so it looks like there's a round flat surface for the champagne glass to sit on. And then I'm just doing a really light line at the top here for the rim of the glass. Then I'm going to give that a cure. It's just nail art, so a 10-20 second cure is all that's needed. And once it's cured, you want to bring it back out. You want to go over any of the lines to make them more defined. Then go ahead and do so. Here I'm just trying to make the lines look a little bit more cleaner. Again, non-dominant hand, I have pretty shaky lines, and this is a good example of the short liner brush. It's good for detail, but if it has to do a little bit of a longer line, it's not as stable as the long liner brush. I might have been able to get away with using the medium liner brush for this and have straighter lines, but I just chose to stick with the short liner brush. And once you're happy with the fixing up, then again you put it in for a quick cure. 10 to 20 seconds is good. And then what I did was put some of the sparkling Moscato on a dotting tool from the creativity set, and I filled up the champagne glass with some bubbly sparkling Moscato. So after using the sparkling Moscato to fill up the champagne glass, I used some Meet Me at the Chapel with the dotting tool, the larger dotting tool out of the creativity set, and I'm making a large circle on the nail plate. This circle is going to represent a clock. Once the circle is round and as perfect as I can get it, then basically all I did was put it in for a full cure, just because there's a lot of gel polish in the circle, and give it a full cure, and then I'm going to make the face of the clock. So I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat here, and I'm going to not fill in the whole circle here. I'm going to just do a smaller circle in the larger circle, so then it looks like the clock is framed. And I'm just going to make this as circular as possible again, and then I'm going to put it in for another full cure. Now that the cure is done, I'm going to use Straight Raven's Kiss with the liner brush, and I am going to just kind of give a little bit of an outline in the clock between the 2 shades of white. I also used a dotting tool to put a circle in the middle. I'm using the the short liner brush to make a hand going up to the midnight position in the clock. And now I'm grabbing the very long dotting tool, which has a pointed end in the creativity set, to just make a couple of ticks where the all the numbers are on the face of the clock. So the 3, the 2, the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 6. If I had a bigger face of the clock or a smaller detailed brush, I would put all of the numbers on the clock as well, but the clock is too small and I don't have a small enough detailed brush. So now I'm going to cap it all off with Clearly Frisky, just like all of the other accent nails. And then we're going to put that in the lamp to cure for 45 to 60 seconds, depending on the lamp. Which brings me to the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more great content, and we'll see you in the next video.